Hello and welcome to the Glass and Art Studio Rainbow Wave tutorial. My name's Katie Hinder and I'm a glass artist and tutor at the Glass and Art Studio. In this kit you get a rectangle of glass which is 12 by 24 centimetres, 3mm thick, as well as 8 different frit colours, which are the colours that you can see around the screen. Now, as always, before we start, it's important to clean the glass, but to also remember that the glass does have sharp edges. Make sure there's a good amount of cloth between your fingers and the glass itself. We clean the glass to make sure that we removed any grease from the manufacturing process so that our pieces are nice and shiny after firing. If you don't clean it, you can get something called devitification, which is a cloudy layer at the top of your glass. If you are under 16, get the help of an adult for this bit. As you can see, I've drawn a plan underneath my glass and I put the clear glass over the top. It's a pretty rough plan, but it will give me an idea of where I want to put the glue and the frits as I work my way through the piece. I'm going to start by applying the PVA and water mix, which is 8 parts PVA to 2 parts water. This is going to be where I first put my sky colour, the powder blue. I'm mapping out where I'd like the frits to go. And for the sky colour, I'd like it to not go where the clouds are, but around it. I'm now applying the powder blue frit. This is a fine frit, so it will give a nice delicate finish. It does mean that every now and then you could do with standing up and having a look down and seeing what the coverage is like. I'm working my way through the sky, avoiding the clouds. I'm now going to get a paintbrush, which is handy just to make sure that the frits are going to go in the right place. So I'm applying a little bit more powder blue, and then I'm wiping away any frits which have gone where I don't really want them to be. Don't worry too much about that, but it just helps you to keep a nice, clean and tidy area. I'm now working on the sky part at the bottom part of my picture and adding more powder blue frit. The powder blue is a really nice soft colour which will work well against the vibrant rainbow. Again, cleaning the area before I apply my rainbow colours. Now I've made this a little bit faster, so I'm applying the PVA for the first strip of colour, which is red transparent. Now don't worry if the frits go where you don't want them to, they have a habit of that, but you can always use a pair of tweezers at the end or as you're working through to pick them up and put them in the right place. If you want it to be quite sporadic, that's absolutely fine. It's your design and go with whatever you fancy. So this colour is red striker. This means that in the kiln it will change colour to a brighter red. Strikers always develop in the kiln and look different when you put them in. I really enjoy them. And the next colour is an opaque orange. I am adding my glue fairly carefully, just to make sure it's in the right place, and I'm following the lines the best I can. I like to use opaque colours and transparent colours to give a variation in depth and colour. This is a really strong orange, so it looks nice in a rainbow. The glass we're using, as always, is Bullseye Fusing Glass. And the reason that I use Bullseye Fusible is because I think it's got really great colours, especially for things like rainbows. If you want to do something slightly less fiddly but with a rainbow, you could make the stripes wider, which would make it easier. And now applying yellow, which is also a striker. So this will look much more vibrant when it's come out of the kiln after its first firing. The waves have 2 firings, One to fuse all the glass together on what I call a texture firing, and then another which is called a slumping process, which is when you put the glass over a mould at a lower temperature and you allow the glass to slump over it, creating the shape of a wave, which will mean that you can stand it up on your window ledges or on a mantelpiece or a lovely shelf. It's important when you are making the wave to make sure that at the bottom there aren't any frits sticking over the edge of the glass. After firing, the first time, it can mean that the bottom edge is slightly bumpy, which means that after the slumping, you won't have a flat edge for your wave to stand on. So just give it a little wipe at the end, or just make sure that there aren't any frits hanging over. And this colour is Spring Green, which is a really nice, vibrant colour. We're now moving on to the turquoise colour. Working our way across the piece. There we go. And the next colour is Deep Royal Blue, which again is a transparent. Works really well next to the turquoise. It's actually really hard to get an indigo colour, so this was the colour that I felt was closest. And because it looks so good next to the turquoise, it works well. And I'm just getting any frits again with the tweezers and patching up any little holes I make. Most of the time when I am working with fused glass, I don't like to use tweezers, but I do find when you're working with frits, it can get a little bit fiddly and they're great. And the final rainbow colour is Deep Royal Purple. I'm just cleaning it up again with some tweezers. Now I decided to do the clouds last because I want them to go over the top of the rainbow a little bit, the two that are touching the rainbow. So this is opaque white, an opal colour. And I am being quite liberal with it. I'm building it up because I'd like the clouds to be slightly textured, even more textured than the rainbow after firing. I'm not putting glue on top of the frits that are already there because it would just take them away from the piece rather than adding the glue. So if you just put them on top of the frits that you've already applied, they should lock in. And there we go. Tidying up my workspace and just letting you see it before firing. I'm having a quick check, and there we go. And this is after the first firing, so you can see the texture of the clouds and the brightness of the colours.